Welcome back, everybody, to the TOT podcast. I haven't done one for a while, so it's quite nice to be back into the swing of things. Today I'm with Jack Hamilton, one of our online teachers, as well as somebody who is currently waiting to go to China. Am I right, Jack?
Yep, fingers crossed. Fingers
Fingers
crossed.
crossed. You have been waiting a while, but
Yeah.
it would appear, as long as everything's 100% correct, that we may be approaching the finishing line. Am I right?
Yep, touch wood. It's been like 6 months so far. I know some of my colleagues have been waiting a lot longer than that, but 6 months is still way too long. We're hoping to get the ball rolling as of now, and might even be able to smell a visa in the coming weeks. Who knows?
That'd be cool. So where are you going then, Jack? Do you know sort of which city and stuff it is you're looking to go to?
Yep, like no sooner was I sort of signed up, within 2 weeks, I've been made an offer from Beijing to teach like in the heart of the city. So yeah, I've been excited to get there ever since.
And have you ever been to China before?
No, not once. I've only ever been to that part of the world once in my life, which was when I was 14 for a school trip to Japan, and that is it. Haven't been at all since.
Okay, that's interesting. So I think that's quite a nice way to start because I think in today's podcast, what I really want to sort of discuss is the headspace of somebody who may be interested in doing something like this and
Yeah.
why. So I guess for somebody who's never been to that part of the world, if you don't mind me asking, actually, what did you study at university?
Well, yeah, there's the background. I studied languages, mainly like Asian
Ah,
studies and German as well. So this, I'm cheating a little bit. This isn't my first time living abroad. I've lived a year in Vancouver. I've lived a year in southern Germany. So this will be my third time living abroad. And honestly, I can't stay put for too long. I don't like to stay back home in the UK for too long. So I'm looking forward for my third time's a charm.
nice. So how long did you go away for? What was sort of like the time scale? Was it a long period or
To Beijing or prior?
no? In terms of Germany, you said you went to Germany, right?
Yeah. So I went for a year each time, so 12
Oh
months each
wow.
time. And funnily enough, this contract in Beijing is also 12 months. So yeah, roughly a year.
So you've
It's a
already
nice.
spent 2 years of your life away. So you're familiar with being on the road.
Yeah.
And how did you find it when you were put into these new cultures, these new countries that don't speak some English, but what sort of how was it? What did you find?
Well, more than anything, I think it's liberating. If you've gone through school and then you go straight to university and there's sort of no break, no gap. You might have been thinking about a gap year, maybe not. And then you get to the end of uni, you just you just love the idea, I think, from my perspective, of living somewhere new, completely different life, new language. You might know it, you might not. New food, new people. I think that's just great. It's like stepping into a new life almost. And that can be daunting for some people, but for me, I love the experience. I love meeting new people. I love trying new things, new experiences. That's just me. I've always adapted to new places, so it's like my ultimate calling, really, traveling.
Yeah, I think the fact that you studied languages it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
But I'd like to go back a little bit more, actually, if you don't mind. I'd like to find out where did this love for languages come? Where did this sort of desire for traveling and spending time abroad come from? Was it something you did when you were younger?
uh,
Where did it
I
sort
guess.
of all sprout from?
Yeah, I guess growing up, I moved around a lot as a kid. I think I went to four different secondary schools and two different
Wow.
primary schools. So I bounced around a lot. The idea of, setting up, like packing up all my stuff and going elsewhere. By the time I was 16, that was quite common. So I think I say it became easier. From a social perspective, it actually becomes harder. But the idea of going somewhere new and readapting to everything, I kind of grew up with that. And
Sure.
then before I went to uni, I didn't think that going straight to uni was the right thing. So I decided to work for a bit and go to the other side of the world. Which, yeah,
Nice.
and it's been every 2 years, I think, since that. So a year in Canada, 2 years, a year in Germany, 2 years, and now Beijing, hopefully.
And how do you find it when you go away for such a long period of time? You get adapted to a different culture and then you come back home. Because I actually did the same thing. I can relate to you. I went to Hong Kong between leaving college and going to university. I did 3 years working abroad as well. So I can relate to you. But I'm interested to know, how did you feel when you sort of came back, that transition, that sort of adaptation?
Well, there's two sides to it really. There's obviously you miss everything that you've gotten used to. You'll miss the food, you'll miss obviously the friends you made out there who you might have seen on a daily basis and then suddenly no more. Obviously, you still keep in contact. I think some of my lifelong friends are people that I've met in Europe and in Canada.
Sure.
But the flip side to it is you come to realize what you miss and what you like about the place you grew up, the place you were, that you call home, so to speak. So it's nice every once in a while to come back, and it's nice to see things from like an outsider's perspective as well.
Sure, definitely. That makes sense completely. I can completely relate. I think, did you feel like you were a different person when you came back?
Oh God, yeah. I've matured immensely, I think,
Mm.
from my years abroad. Literally, I'll probably say I was a bit of a shut-in for like the first half of my teens, and like leaving home for the first time and living like 99% independently was like a rite of passage almost. Like, you do learn for yourself. You do, you don't just listen to adults anymore.
Yeah,
You take it on yourself, and oftentimes the decisions you make for yourself like directly benefit or put you down. So there is a deal of self-responsibility there, but I think that is one of the appeals as well. Totally control of your own life.
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I found personally when I went abroad that um, at least every week, sometimes almost every day, there would be a challenge that arises. So it could be I go to a store and I'm struggled to communicate with somebody and figure out what it is I'm trying to get. Or I might feel really low one day because I missed my family. I think those
Mhm.
things always sort of arise naturally. But the liberation of sort of being somewhere and adapting and being
Mm.
on your own and solely responsible, um, it's like a completely different world, different feeling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I'd,
like,
I'd literally describe it as a list of those buzzwords. That's what it is.
yeah, totally. I couldn't agree more. So when you went to university, you studied languages. When you signed up to UCAS or whatever it is, I can't remember what they're called. And is
UCAS.
it
Yeah.
UCAS? I think it's UCAS, right? Something like that. What made you choose languages in specific? I know you said you like traveling. I know I've got that background. But of all the things you could have chose, what about languages?
It, my uni course and choice was very, very, very niche. It was at the University of Kent. I'd just gotten back from Canada, and I'd been trying to get onto like apprenticeship schemes, and I wasn't having a great deal of luck. So I thought to myself, what do I like? What do I enjoy? What are my strengths? What am I not good at? And I thought, you know what, I really enjoyed doing languages at sixth form, and the two languages that I spoke were German and Japanese. And it just so happened to be that the University of Kent offered a course that was Asian studies and German, which entailed like a little bit of Chinese as well as Japanese. So I thought, oh,
Nice.
apply for that. And I didn't get through the first time around. I had to go through clearing. But when I spoke to one of the course, like the people that run the course, like, this is my background. I've traveled. I've studied like Japanese culture for ages. I've done German in sixth form, yada yada yada. Um, will you be willing to offer me a place in this course? I said, yeah, of course, come along. You sound like you're a great fit for the course. And 5 years later, I'm looking to go back over there.
Wow, that's
Actually,
awesome.
like, it's come full circle almost. It's like they gave me a chance to learn Asian side, and now I'm given the chance to go over to Asia and teach English side. So it's
That's a
it's,
really
it's a
nice
full
way of
circle.
looking at it.
Yeah.
For sure, definitely. By the way, I'm also studying at the University of Kent. I'm in Canterbury right now, actually.
I actually,
Yeah, I think you knew that already, right?
I did, but I thought you were still in Portsmouth.
No. I'm back in Canterbury now. Yeah, so beautiful Canterbury.
Back to
Um,
expensive beer prices.
no place like it though. No place like it.
True, true. When did you graduate, if I might ask?
Just about to graduate. I'm just in my last 3 weeks actually. Just going up to
Oh,
my
your
my
final year
end of year
student.
exam. That's correct, Jeff. My final
Wow.
exam's actually 3 weeks today. So yeah, I'm in my final year.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool. So
What
yeah, I'm
what a
excited.
side hustle you got going on.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, that's what employers look for nowadays. They like to see
Yeah,
somebody who can study and hold down a job, regardless of what the job is. A
indeed.
job is a job, and if you can mix responsibilities at the same time, that's a brilliant idea. But going back to the topic of languages, so
Mm.
obviously, we understand now that you're somebody who enjoys traveling. You've been to these different countries. You've learned different languages. But what I'd like to know is the teaching side,
Mhm.
because obviously you're not going to China to just explore China. You're going there to
Mhm.
actually teach.
Yeah.
And languages and teaching go hand in hand, but they are still two different elements. So
They
I'd
do.
like to know what about the teaching side appeals to you and what sort of interested you about teaching in particular.
Well, initially it wasn't like a career path that I was going down, but it turns out one of my old course mates, way back in first year, I was following her Facebook feed, and she did the same thing. She took a job with another competitor. Was it Opportunities China? I think she took, and I had a chat with her about it. Just reached out to her, and she'd been there at the time about 3 4 months, and she was quite a timid girl from what I remember. Not the kind of girl you'd expect to up roots and go to the other side of the world, to a different, literally the opposite side of the world,
Sure.
culture speaking. And she said it was the best decision she made in her life. She's met herself, like she's met her other half there. She's been, obviously she teaches and has been teaching since day one, and she's absolutely loved the immersion. She's loved the kids. She's loved the work hours. She's loved the ethos of teaching English as a Westerner in China. And I thought, hell, let's give that a go. Let's see what opportunities I can find. So fast forward, I've had the opportunity now to teach online, which is my first hands-on teaching experience. And I've found that it's enjoyable and it's gratifying as well, because they have very little understanding of English, but through your own mastery of language, you can get them to have surprisingly good levels of communication, and I think that's such a rewarding thing to have.
I think that's definitely the right way to approach it for sure. I mean, anybody who goes into teaching, there has to be that element of finding a reason to do it that goes
Mm-hmm.
beyond just earning money. Sure that you need to be paid a fair amount of money, which I think for a post grad, the salary packages that they offer when you go to China are extremely reasonable. Um, you know, but there has to be more than just that desire to earn money. It's not just a
Mm-hmm.
job; it's a job that you have to care about, because the
Yeah.
quality of your work depends on how much care you put into it. Um, and care really matters in this job, because you're dealing with children's lives. This is something
Exactly.
they're gonna take on forward for the rest of their life, and their parents highlight, and there's so much emphasis on how important it is to
Mm.
the individual and their development. So yeah, so interested in going abroad, studied languages, have a friend who's experienced it, and here you are today. I mean, how long have you been teaching online now?
Since the start of Feb, like the very start of February. So what's that? 2.5 months now, or almost 3 months. Yeah.
And do you think, I mean, it's difficult to say because you're not in China yet, but do you feel like
Mm.
you've learned something from this? Do you think that when you can take something out of this, even though it is online?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. I remember James, obviously our trainer James, he famously said that if you can teach online, if you can keep the kids focused on you on a screen for an hour at a time and be able to deliver amazing lessons, then it will be a walk in the park when you get out over there and you're in person teaching them. And I wholeheartedly believe that now after 3 months, and knowing what teaching is like in person by comparison. So um, yeah, it, it's gonna be a lot easier. I think teaching online is tough, but it's you get the benefit of doing it from your own home, your own comfort zone.
Nice, nice. Okay, I think we've covered a lot today. I think that we've discussed sort of the outlook of somebody who might be interested in
Mm,
doing something like this. For you, it's a bit different to maybe others because you had some sort of interest in language. Well, you had an interest in languages, and then the
yeah.
teaching came in together, and they've merged to become, what this is today, which is you going to Beijing to teach. And obviously you've done the online teaching, but I would like to end things with one question, and that is, once you finish that contract, those 12 months in Beijing, can you tell me 3 things that you wish to have accomplished for yourself?
That's tough.
Yeah, I didn't prepare you for this one, so
Well, spontaneous questions get spontaneous answers, I suppose. So I guess to the accomplishment that is of being able to add another country to the list of which I've successfully immersed with. A career path, I'm sure that's one word or three. A way forward.
Sure.
And also experience, memories, just day-to-day life, as well as getting what you can out of the job, as well as your own social life. And if I can add as well, China, I think in particular, compared to, because I was looking at a lot of other countries, namely Japan and South Korea. They all have their own ups and downs, but the Chinese have such a firm framework for Westerners, unlike Japan and South Korea, who have not had so many Western teachers over the years as China have done recently. They're a lot more flexible, I think, the Chinese, and they're a lot less rigid in their deliveries. So you really are given, quite a free rein on what you deliver in the classroom in China, which I think is what made it most appealing to me.
That's brilliant. I think that's a great way to end it, Jack. I think this has been a brilliant conversation, and thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, Carl. Good luck with the exams.
Thank you very much, and until next time, this has been the Overseas Teacher Podcast, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.